Welcome to Embody Safety with Eva. And today we will talk about what is really going on when you want something in your relationships, in your life, in your career, but a part of you doesn't feel safe yet with that goal or desire. So we will dive a little bit into younger parts and somatic parts work together. I often see this in my work when women come to me and from what you can imagine, like an adult self or their present self, there is specific desire or goal, whether it's starting a new project at work, applying for a new position, having healthier connection in their relationship, or creating the type of relationship they want. And it seems like for that present adult self, this desire feels like no-brainer. It feels like, of course, I want this. Um, but what usually happens as they start moving on the path towards what they want is that they find themselves circling inside of what feels like a loop or a pendulum of expansion, where they have days where they can almost feel, touch, smell the vision. It feels very real. It feels like, I know this is what I want. But then a couple of days later or a couple of months later, as they keep moving towards their goal, they find themselves in almost what feels like a state of collapse, where self-doubt comes in, and they often feel emotional numbness or disconnection, or they feel overwhelmed by the emotions that start coming up or flooding their body as they are moving closer and closer towards what they want. Um, and oftentimes there is even an urge to quit everything altogether, where they find themselves more in this hopelessness or helplessness, like this is too hard, I will never get this, maybe this is not meant for me. And when you hear those things, when you sense that hopelessness, helplessness coming up, it's often because there is another part of you showing up in your system as that desire is coming closer. And that other part is usually a younger part of our system that learned how to stay safe around that specific area a long time ago before you have the skills or the resources you have now. And it may show up when something in our life, in our adult life, touches an old fear, like being abandoned in love, or being unseen, or being disappointed or disappointing someone. And when the younger part shows up, often inside of you, it feels like it creates almost like a feeling of inner pendulum, where you feel that expansion, you feel how it would feel to have what you want, and then everything in your body that braces against that desire, like being seen or possibly being rejected by someone or putting your work out there, and then some people not liking it or criticizing it, it creates almost like a feeling of inner pendulum. And something I wanted to touch on today is that the more pressure we keep putting on our system, which we usually do when we feel this younger part come up, we say to ourselves things like, what's wrong with me? Why cannot I get this right? Why cannot I sustain this like schedule? Why cannot I be consistent? What's wrong? What's going on? Why do I always find myself in this place? No matter how many times I go down this path, I always find myself in this place where I start feeling hopeless or discouraged or disappointed. And what we are usually taught is to push harder, just do more, suck it up, be stronger. And that's what high achieving capable women naturally are inclined to. They are already pushing themselves very, very hard. So I wanted to offer you today another solution of how to approach these younger parts, and that's remembering that the more pressure you put on your system, or the more you pressure your system to keep up, to perform, or to get it right, the more the younger part feels overwhelmed, because the more you try to push her into something she's not ready for, the more she feels disconnected from you, the more she feels disconnected from that adult present self that is her source of support and her source of feeling seen and heard and acknowledged. So let's talk about it a little bit more now. So basically, what's going on inside of your body, you can imagine it like one part of you keeps speeding up while the other part is curled up in a corner saying, this feels like too much. And the adult self is like, it doesn't matter, we are going down that path anyway. And then the younger part, if you don't listen to her, don't include her, don't find what actually feels safe to your system, she will eventually come up. She will eventually come up in form of resistance, and that resistance has different forms. So you might find yourself at work pushing towards next credential or achievement because that's what seems to be like the right path for you, or what looks responsible from the outside. But another part of you is getting sick all the time, or she's tired, she's foggy, she cannot focus, it feels heavy, you feel unmotivated. In relationships, it can look like you start dating, but a part of you feels this fear around, I don't actually want to let someone else into my life, because what if I choose wrong again? What if I do the same mistake I've done a couple of times in the past? So it feels almost like you are simultaneously speeding up, and then a part of you is putting on brakes, and she's like, this pace doesn't work on me, for me, it doesn't feel safe. And that's where that stuckness comes in, or like the pendulum of going back and forth between wanting it and then collapsing, and wanting it and then spiraling down. So, as I said, our younger parts don't feel safer when we pressure them more. They help open up our system to new possibilities when they feel acknowledged, when they feel heard, and when they feel included. And I know that often for if you're a high achiever, if you're very ambitious, it feels so counterintuitive to slow down as you are moving towards something you want. And especially in this case, if it is an area that you've been working on or trying to figure things out for a very long time, and you feel like you are running out of time, it feels very counterintuitive when someone like me says, you need to slow down, or you want to slow down. So what we actually want to do to make that part feel supported is that we want to slow down enough to actually feel our body's capacity. Oftentimes, the adult part or the present self, uh, especially what I see in my practice, is that very capable high achieving women, they move often from sympathetic activation, which means that your body is basically working and meeting other people or carrying other people in relationships from an energetic depth. You are living slightly ahead of your body. So it might feel like from the logical part that, of course, I'm ready for this. I've been ready for this for a long time, whether it's promotion, having more clients or more visibility, or having the relationship you want. But only when you slow down enough to help your body find regulation, to help your body find present moment and your body's real capacity, can you truly feel into uh, what those younger parts are available for, or what they need to open your system up to new possibility. And after we slow down, and usually if you are used to moving really fast, then if you feel like you slow down enough, you want your system to slow down even a little bit more. After we've done that, we can be then truly present with our system. We can truly feel into our capacity instead of thinking about our capacity. And then we can start moving, because through present moment, we can now connect with that younger part, and we can start moving at the pace of that younger part. We can now feel into what type of pace feels good to her and what type of support does she need from me, so that when we start expanding, we don't collapse all the way here or all the way back to the starting point, but we can sustain this slower, consistent pace of moving and direction of moving forward. And from there, we want to give our parts support and the space they need to integrate what's coming up. So another area where it might be very beneficial for your body to slow down a little bit is when it comes to integration. Because after every expansion, after every contact, let's say with a healthy partner, if you are used to unhealthy relationships, after every success or acknowledgement at work, or just visibility overall, your body might need some time to integrate that. And we think that the faster, the more we push ourselves, the faster we will get where we are going. But eventually our body stops us because it doesn't have capacity to hold more. And when we slow down enough to integrate those moments of goodness or something new coming up, something that feels unfamiliar, we are allowing our body to slowly build capacity before we reach that burnout or spiraling down moment or crash out. And then from there, as we keep this sustainable pace, that's our true body space, not that energetic death we've been living in. From there, your body is going to reveal the next best step for you in that area. It's not going to be something external or some external advice or strategy. It is always your body that's going to reveal the next best step for you. And the next best step might be sometimes we need to rest for 2 or 3 days before we keep working on that project. Okay, so another thing or another practice I want to leave you with today, and then we will finish this topic, is that when that adult self wants something, so when there is desire for love or success or visibility, see if you can practice staying with it for a little while, just enjoying the desire itself or the goal itself, the vision itself, without jumping into like pressure or urgency, or because I feel this desire, I have to make it happen. Especially if it is an area where you've been taking a lot of action in the past, but it led to same results. So it means that there is a part that doesn't feel safe with something new yet. And that's where we want to slow down and learn that having a desire or having a goal doesn't necessarily mean that I need to um, make it happen right away or make it happen at the expense of my body shutting down. This is often when we don't have capacity yet to sit with the desire itself and enjoy it. That's where I see women oftentimes ending in unhealthy relationships or overriding their body because it's like your system is not yet used to just staying with the desire and enjoying it and being like, I get to have this, I get to keep this. This is not something that is hurting me or something that's like urgent, something that I need to figure out. Because when we start figuring things out, that's when usually as women we disconnect from our body's wisdom um, and we overlook things that are not a fit. And then we want to start moving or taking action from a place where it feels like this process itself feels fun, enjoyable, or creative. Whenever we move from a state that feels like I will relax once I finally get there, that's usually how that activation or sympathetic state feels in our system. That's how those younger parts feel in our system. Like I can rest once I achieve that or get that. And that's where the desire triggers that urgency or pressure because every result or every outcome is a means of validating whether we are lovable or we are worthy of being chosen or we are on the right track. So when we start moving from our true adult self, not that pushing part, that's usually a protector part that protects us from disappointment and hurt and the emotions that we don't necessarily have the capacity to feel yet. When we start moving from our true present self, then we can stay with the process itself. And then that urgency and pressure slowly dissipates, and your body is not treating every result or outcome along the way as like a proof of how lovable or worthy you are. And from that state where we are connected to our system and where we are getting that next best step for us, that's where that pace, it's almost like the circle untangles itself, that loop or pendulum of urgency, pressure, and then collapse. And it becomes just like one path that feels supportive and sustainable. And we can have fun along the way. And we feel like, oh, like I get to be myself at every point of the journey. I can relax into this process. This process itself feels nourishing and sustainable. I don't have to strain myself to receive result. I'm moving along the journey or the process in a way where this process itself feels supportive. Okay, so let me know if you've ever felt that younger part come up. And also, if you would like more support with this, I will link my current offers below, and I will see you in the next one.